Alright, today I'm going to try and replace my bowl gear here. If you can see there, I've got one tooth missing right there. And I've got, there's another one on here that has a little chip in it. Right there. You probably can't see it, but that one's got a little chip in it. So I'm just going to replace that one. Sorry, I got a cold right now, so 'tis the season. Here's my replacement gear. I got it off of eBay. It's in pretty good shape. I see other than there's a few little almost like rust pits in it, but it just on the top, not on the bearing surfaces. There's a little nick right there, but I'll probably file that out. A little nick right there too, but I mean the whole tooth is there. A little nick there, but the whole tooth is there, whereas that one's completely missing, so I just don't want to risk taking out my back gear with that one bad bowl gear. And the first thing I did here was I pulled off this outer spindle gear here. Mine was loose, it popped right off. Yours probably won't be. Mine is held on with this spindle. It's a spider, but I'm sure they used it for something else at one time, so it's pulled that off and it came right off. And of course your belt. My belt is a wired splice, so that came right off. The next step here, after you get the spindle gear off, is get this little key out of there. Hopefully I can get mine out without damaging it. You can see it's a little woodruff key. A woodruff key, for those who don't know, is just a little half moon shape, and this one has the tailstock end clipped off, so it'll fit up against that bushing. And I'll take that spacer bushing off, and I'm going to mark mine. You know, it probably doesn't matter, but I'm going to mark mine for the tailstock end and the headstock end. So then when I put it back on there, I just know that it got put back together the same way that I took it apart. Next, I'm going to take these 4 screws loose. I just wanted to show you guys quick, if you don't have a big screwdriver like that, this is super handy. I got this one from Lowe's, I think, and the cool thing about it, it has this little hex end on it, so you can turn on it so you don't have to put a bunch of grip. You know, all you got to do is keep force up against the in the screw, and these aren't that tight anyways, but you can break it loose. So yeah, that's something kind of cool. If you can find one of those, they're really handy for jobs like this. Alright, so we got this guy loose. That only goes on there one way. So now we're going to loosen these set screws up here on this one of our back gears. And this one has 2 or 3 of them in it. I'm not sure which one, if they're all holding or if just one of them is holding, but we'll just loosen all of them up here. One nice thing I like about these Logans and South Bends even, is that they're all US standard. So we'll just back that out a little bit. Here's the second one. I believe I have a third one here yet, but we'll see. That one wasn't really that tight. If I look at my... Okay, so there's just 2 there. And this is an 11 by 36 too, if I failed to mention that. I don't see any set screw on the bowl gear here, so I'm going to give this a few taps and see if we can get it to move a little bit. Alright, what I have to tap this is just a hammer. I'm going to make sure I don't knock anything. Okay, There, I tapped it out. So now I'm gonna come over here, see if I can get this out by hand. Gotta be careful trying to keep it straight here. And trying to keep all my parts on the tailstock end here. I got a little shim that I'm just going to pull out. So there's a shim that was sitting in the back here. And I'm going to set that on my bearing side down on my clean table over here. And then as I pull this out, each one of these gears and pulley will come off by itself. So, oh, one more thing here. Let me spin the spindle around here. There's a woodruff key there too for the bull gear. So I'm just gonna, I'll probably just leave that in there because I'm not gonna move it around too much. Probably a good idea. Something you could do. Put a piece of tape around that. But I'm just going to pull this out, grab my new one, and stick it back in. So I'll just have that facing up. There's a second. There's a spacer and a washer. I'll lay that on top of my other spacer and my other washer down there. The same direction. And then I believe this pulley assembly and this one gear is all one assembly. There we go. So there's our spindle. I'm just going to check it, and I'll probably wipe it off a little bit because some of this oil is a little greasy and I don't check my bearing out there. Bearing sounds a little dry, but for now I might take it out and grease it, but we'll see. So set my spindle assembly off to the side and grab my bull gear here. And there we go, there's our bad gear. LA1003. And I got the replacement right over there, LA1003. And there's a washer on there, so I'll be sure to stick that on my new one right away. There's my new one. So I don't know, I might fix this one. We'll see. I mean, it's just one gear. One gear is pretty easy to fix. You get to be 4, 5, 6 of them. That gets to be a little more time consuming. I'm not sure if I might just sell it the way it is too, because I mean this is still a good gear other than that, and somebody can fix that if I don't, fairly quickly and easily, you know, relative to spending $200 or $300 on a new one. So I might sell this at a discounted rate, or if I fix it I might sell it for a little more, but I should be able to get some money back out of my old gear here. So I'm just going to make sure my new gear here is in good shape. I mean, it is in good shape, but I'm just gonna put a little oil on it. I got some spindle oil. I guess I'm not so worried about the outside here, but I'll get a clean spot I'm gonna do the inside here. And you know, even though this isn't gonna be turning on anything, I want it to be nice and clean. You can see there's a little bit of gunk and grime in there. See, that's not good. I got it pretty clean now, so I'll just put a little bit of oil in there. And then I'm going to double check this surface over here. Make sure that's nice and clean. Wipe this guy off, put some new oil on there. So a nice thing about this is I mean, it's fairly simple. I'm going to take this guy out and look at it too while we got it out. So you got a bunch of bronze bushings in there. I mean, this pulley is in pretty good shape. It's got a little bit of grease in there, but for an old lathe, it's actually in really good shape. Not very dirty. I've done some of these where they're just really, really dirty and nasty, and just not in. They look like they were poorly maintained, but it's not always the case either. I mean, sometimes they just get dirty. Alright, so I'll set this guy off to the side. And then while I'm at it, I think I'm just gonna clean up down the side a little bit here. It's not very dirty, it's actually pretty clean. And all my back gears look really good, but as long as it's out, you know, I might as well do it. So I'm gonna clean it up and we'll get back to putting it back together here. I'm gonna show you guys something quick here too. I went through and cleaned out both of my back gears here, cleaned out all the junk out of them, and if you don't want to take that thing completely out of there, which can be a pain, to clean the gears out, because a lot of times these gears get gunk packed in them. Take just a regular screwdriver, sorry. This is just a flathead screwdriver, and I got it wrapped around a paper towel here. And what you can do is you can get in those gears and like you're flossing a gear. So every second or third gear you can move your paper towel a little bit because your screwdriver will wear through there. And then you can get in there and clean those. You probably can't see which ones I did there, but you can get in there and clean the gunk out of them. So that works really good, a screwdriver and a paper towel. I was going to point out one other thing here too, as long as one nice thing about taking these things apart is you kind of learn the machine and kind of get an idea of where everything's at. I clean this off. This is all this is part of the back gears. This is all full of dirt and grime and grease, but look at that. There's a little grease nipple there. Not a grease, but for your spindle oil and stuff. So I would have never. I guess I did look at the manual the other day and I saw there was a grease spot somewhere in the head spot here, or oiling zerk, but I didn't know it was right there. So this is an 11 inch. I'm sure the 10s probably have the same one in there, and probably even the 9s with the back gear. But yeah, stuff you learn when you take stuff apart. I would have found it eventually, but now I know. Alrighty, so now it's time to get all this stuff back in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this guy right in here. And lean it up there. And I'm going to grab my bowl gear here. I'm going to set this off to the side. Grab my bowl gear. Actually, I'm going to do this. Set them in like that. And set them both in very carefully. And I'll grab my spindle here. I'm going to put I got spindle oil. I'm going to put a light coat of spindle oil on this whole thing. Alright. So the only thing here is I'm going to get my hands off here. Got everything lined up there. And then I just got to make sure my woodruff key here lines up on my bowl gear. So the pin on the bowl gear is right under the retention pin. And then so I got that. So I got my gears there. Now I'm going to put my spaces back in. So remember my washer, my spacer. Then add one more spacer in there. So I'll put that guy in first. And I'll put these guys in, and I'll stick my finger through there to kind of hold them in place. Ever so gently push those back through. Line everything up here. My outer bearing. Oop, there we go. Okay, now I'll line my woodruff key up in there, and I can see I bumped it a little bit, so I'm gonna actually spin this whole thing up. Spin my back gear over, push that down. Slide right in there. There we go. So now, easy enough. Gonna tap that back in. I'm gonna try it. Do it by hand first. Get it started. So everything looks good here. This is the retention. Tighten that. So I'm gonna get my 2x4 here and tap this guy in. That's how further it went. So now I'm gonna slide these guys all the way out this way. Well, actually, we'll put this on first. So let me grab my screws. I'm putting them in the same spot that they went in. So this is just reverse operation. And I can see this has been taken apart before because these slot-headed screws they're marred up a little bit. So I can tell that somebody got in there for something once upon a time. I'm gonna do a cross tightening, kind of like you would a car, lug nuts on a car. Oops, that's why you want the right size screwdriver, although this one is, but that one's nicked up a little bit. So I don't know if cross tightening them matters or not. I mean, this is just a cap. So there we go, there's our cover. I'm going to have to put some oil in there before I get too crazy with this, but so then we just tighten these two back down, and then we'll put our spacer back on the outside. I'll just do this while we're looking at it here. So there's my tailstock and my headstock end. I'm going to wipe this out once quick too, because it's got a little gunk in it. Wipe the outside off too. I don't like, you know, it's nice to have a really nice, neat and clean machine, but I did that with my last one and it's a lot of work, so I'm just going to clean up the essential parts. You know, everything on the cosmetic to me doesn't matter, but someday when I get more time I'll probably do it, but today, and then I already greased this, so we got plenty of grease in there, although that doesn't matter because that just rides there. And then our little key, our little cut-off woodruff key. Pop that guy down in there. And I'm going to get a little brass. Make sure that's where I want it to be. And my gear here. Clean that off yet, but I'll get to it. And I can put this on just for the hell of it. There we go, that's that. So now all I gotta do, I'm gonna tighten this up, I'm gonna oil this, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be, and then we'll check it out. I might clean this gear, because I haven't cleaned this gear, and I'll put a little 90 weight oil on here and see how we're doing. But yeah, we'll clean it up and one more note, this little shield out here, I had that, it popped out a little bit, so you can just tap it back in with a brass drift or a little piece of wood. I mean, it doesn't take much to just tap it back in there, so that's one more thing I had to do that I didn't record. So alright, I have everything back together and I cleaned it and oiled it with I got some 80 weight gear oil, so that's what I put a little bit of that on the back gears and the compound here, or not the compound but the ball gear. I'm going to just turn it on and show you how it's working. Seems to be working okay. It's a little noisier up front here than I'd like it to be, but it's okay. I'll change it over to let it stop, change it over to a higher speed here. There's a little bit of noise, but it's alright. So that's the back gear engaged, and then just leave it in that one, I guess. And then pop my pin back in and I'll be ready to go. So let me find my hole here. There we go. The oil splash up out of the way. So alrighty, so now we got our bowl gear replaced. Now I don't have to worry about chipping that old one out, so that's good. One less thing to worry about. My front bearing here sounds a little dry. I mean, I can just this off there, and I can hear it, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna stick an indicator on there and test it out. I haven't ran this thing out with an indicator to see if it's actually worn or not, and I haven't done the research to take it apart and re-grease them, and I don't know, these I thought were sealed bearings, so I might just need a new bearing. My back one looked pretty good and it sounded alright, so if I do replace one of them, I'll probably just replace the front one, which I think is the more expensive of the two. But there we go. There's the replacement of a bowl gear on an 11-inch Logan lathe. If you like this video, like it, give me a thumbs up, and if you have anything else you want me to try and do for you, I can try and accommodate that. Please be sure to subscribe. There's a little doggy up in the corner here. You can click on him, or you can go to my channel and check it out. I got a bunch of other videos there that are helpful. Some of them are maybe not be helpful, but if nothing else, good waste of time. So thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you next time.